the dude we saw in the last episode, we're like, who is this dude and why is he getting so much screen time?
I do love the bromance that Obi got going on with the guy over the book that he wrote.
It's like when you say in America that soccer is the most popular sport in the world, your average American's gonna go, not a chance.
I'm no longer looking deep into any of this. I'm taking everything at face value from now on.
How can we do this in a way we don't need any computer generation or special effects, in the Hollywood sense?
No, but the MCU's version of multiverse is this branch effect, the splitting of branches.
Welcome, one and all, to an exciting journey through the minds and hearts of three young-ish men as they delve into another conversation regarding a piece of modern entertainment that has piqued their collective interest, aka the black and white reviews. My name is Lee.
What the heck was that?
Sorry, I just want to try something new.
What did you do? Like, hi, I'm Chuck. Did you type our stuff into Chat GPT and see what popped out?
I probably should have.
That's
That
the
would've been
second
so much
time.
better.
That's the second time ChatGPT came up tonight because I'm gonna bring up ChatGPT in about an hour. Oh my god!
No, that was all
Fantastic
me, man.
opener. I will say that. Fantastic opener, Lee. I am very
like
proud of
that.
you.
I was not expecting that. What? I'm like, are we starting?
Anyways,
And your name?
I said
my
I'm
name
Chuck.
is Will. My name is Will. Yeah, very, very good.
Yeah, and we're going to talk about Loki Season 2, Episode 2 tonight. But
Breaking Bad.
Breaking Brad?
Breaking Bad.
Breaking Brad?
I
Yeah,
mean.
how many flavors of popcorners you got over there?
7.
No, just one.
Just one.
Just one. So before we get into the episode, how's everybody doing?
Good.
Good. Yeah, it's been a week. So, it's always good to catch up and touch base. I mean, what you're talking about ChatGPT. Oh, I guess we'll talk about that later.
We'll talk about
because
that
it's
later when we
relevant
do
to something
Superman
else.
because ChatGPT lied to me. So yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Chat GPT lied to you? Oh,
I
no,
know,
can't
right?
wait. I can't wait to hear about this one.
So
It's
I'm going to say
insane.
a couple days ago, I actually had a night off. It blew my mind. I don't normally have a night off where my wife's like, "Hey, don't come home." Don't come home. I got the girls coming over. They're doing nails, and our kids are gonna play, and they're all girls. I'm like, okay, great. So I'll just find something to do. And I spent a good 2, 3, 4 hours trying to find something to do.
Thanks
and then,
for calling me.
well, I mean, I thought your wife was coming too, and it got confusing. Anyway, I got reached out to by my coworkers because I got back here, and they're like, "Hey, you want to go jam?" So I had a jam night. But I also found myself in a position of well, I've got a little bit of time before I have to go home. They're still busy. I'll watch a movie. So I came in here and I ended up watching a movie. I watched it because I kept getting ads saying you're gonna like this movie. Of course you're gonna like it because of your history and blah blah blah. Totally Killer. Have you heard of it?
No.
It is on Prime Video.
I have heard of this.
And yes, and it's basically the way that they explain it. It's something like Scream meets Back to the Future. And I read it. I'm just like,
That sounds
I'm like,
horrible already.
let's just see how much that really is. Now, if you think about it,
This
if Back
sounds
to the
like
Future-
this sounds like when you recommended that we watch Guns Akimbo. I kind of feel like we're gonna get a little bit of that right now.
No, Guns Akimbo was so much better just because of that one scene.
Wow.
No, this movie, I'm gonna just touch upon it. We don't have to go into any detail about it, but it was basically it seemed to me like Hot Tub Time Machine. That was the type of humor that was going on here. It had its the conversations people were having were very much over sexualized, blah blah blah, this that whatever. But the whole concept of it is this girl's mother gets murdered, and her friends were all murdered back in 1987. Now, of course, I'm partial to 87 because I was born in 87. So I'm like, oh, cool, it's about 87. All these 16-year-old girls were murdered in 1987, stabbed 16 times when they were 16 years old. And years later, the mother gets murdered as well by what seems to be the same guy. They're all wearing this mask or whatever. Her friend invents a time machine in a photo booth at an old carnival. And she goes back in time and she tries to prevent the original murder. So therefore her mom would then be saved in the future because these murders wouldn't have happened because the killer would have been caught.
35 years after the shocking murders of 3 teens, an infamous killer returns on Halloween night to claim a 4th victim. When 17-year-old Jamie comes face to face with the masked maniac, she accidentally travels back to 1987, forced to navigate this unfamiliar culture. That's
Yep.
This sounds
Yep.
fantastic. This sounds amazing.
It was not worth my time. But I will
Really?
say the pizza that I ate was more entertaining than watching the movie itself.
Did you pay for this?
No, it was on Prime.
It's on
Why didn't
Prime,
you-
so
Why didn't you stop it and then try something different? Like,
Because at that point, I'm just like,
once you're in it, you're in it.
yeah, I was just, what else
Now-
was I going to do?
now
I didn't
you
have
know-
enough time for a whole movie
now
after
you
I got
know-
a half hour in.
now you know why I watched the entirety of Passion in the Desert.
Uh-huh.
Uh-huh.
Well, I mean,
That's a
Like,
different
what's gonna
story.
happen?
That's a different
Something-
story. That's a different story.
No. I
You
didn't
tell
know.
you tell the story of Passion to the Desert like your mom threw the movie at the two of you and just locked you in a room and left, and you had no other choice.
that is how you put it.
That is exactly how you describe the scenario to both of us.
She got it for us. We watched it, and halfway through, we're like, "What are we watching? Should any of us stop this?" No, it's gonna get better. We even said it's gonna get better,
Gonna get
and
better.
it never got better. Then we sat there and went, "What did we just watch?" Speaking of movies,
Yeah.
I just watched a movie for the first time, which it's been around for I think 10 years, maybe now, maybe no, 6 or 7, but A Quiet Place.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yes.
Yeah. It's not been a decade, no.
I
No.
watched it for the first time last night.
Okay.
Some friends of ours, we went to a wedding last night, and some friends of ours recommended it to me and my wife. And my wife's like, I might like that. And I'm like, I don't think you will. She's like, but I will. And I'm like, okay. So you get home, I'm like, great opportunity. Do you want to watch a movie? And she's like, let's try it.
Do you want to watch a movie?
No. At the very end, she's like, I'm so tense. And I'm like, well, of course.
Of course.
I have to say, for a movie that has a total of 5 minutes of actual dialogue,
Not even.
Barely.
it is fantastic.
Yes. It is.
It is.
It's
Fantastic.
Yeah. Yeah. So we discussed both.
we did
Did
both
we do
of them.
one? We did 1 and 2 in one episode, right?
We
In
did
one
no.
discussion.
Maybe.
Oh no, we did. It was like not
Maybe.
this past season, but 2
It was
seasons ago, I think.
Yeah, it was 2 Halloweens ago. You and I did
Yeah.
both of those.
Yeah, we
movies,
did 2 episodes.
Yeah.
Yep.
I have to see 2 now, but let me tell you, what John Krasinski was fantastic.
Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Directorial
Absolutely.
debut.
Hmm.
Director, producer,
yeah.
actor, writer.
He's fantastic. He was fantastic in that movie.
Yeah.
It was. I did not expect the ending. Let me tell you, I did not expect what happened to him to happen to him.
Nope.
I was like, what? But let me tell you this though, hour and a half movie. I missed that.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
an hour and a half movie.
It's all it needed to be.
it's all
It didn't
it
need
needed
to
to
be
be.
any
It did not
longer or
need
any
to be
shorter.
anymore.
It was
Yeah.
perfect. It was perfect.
And talk about a cliffhanger.
Mm.
Yeah. If you liked
I'm
it,
like-
if you liked it, you'll like the second one. You'll
Yeah.
definitely like the second one and where it goes.
It seems to be more dialogue because
The
there's
second one?
a lot of it. Yeah,
You
well,
would
from the
think that.
preview-
The
from
trailer has more.
trailer,
You would-
the trailer shows you like there's a lot that happens, like that shows you what happens prior to the actual attack.
You would think that.
invasion.
It's not.
It's not the second one, ironically, it has a lot more to do with I forget her character name, but the deaf girl. It has a lot more to
Yeah.
do with her. Like if the
Yeah.
first one is John Krasinski's movie, the second one is her movie. So
Absolutely.
you get
Yeah.
you really get that, and you get to
Right.
like it's more
Yeah.
about being inside of her mind. It's wild.
Mm.
I'm sorry, his I love you and I always have loved you
Yeah.
is more impactful than I love you 3000.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Or you had me at hello. Yeah.
Yeah,
You have me at hello.
I'm comparing father to daughter scenes here, not like Tom Cruise versus
Mhm.
whatever her name is.
Mm.
But everyone like because they used I love you 3000. That was like a thing that he actually did when he with his daughter,
Mhm. Mhm.
like a real thing, which is why they put it into the movie. But I'm like, this with no words was more impactful. This is a hard movie to watch,
Yeah.
but it was
Yeah.
so like when he's like you start seeing the basement flooding. and then the thing goes under the water, and then she goes into the water. I'm
Mhm.
like, that's the last place I would be.
Yeah.
Like,
No, I'd say the
Yeah.
best part was when they did the Home Alone scene with the nail.
when she stepped on it.
Oh,
That's
man.
yeah.
I mean, that's straight up Home Alone 1.
That was
But it
rough.
was like they did it in a way where it's like, wow, you took a movie that was a comedic movie that I loved, that I cringed at, and you put it into the horror film because you knew that all of us would be like, "Ugh,"
Ugh.
just like when we were kids.
Right.
And it nailed it.
Talk about a situation to be in that you have to be quiet through.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Having a baby?
oh
Literally
my,
having
the
a baby.
Literally, yeah.
Like, here we go.
And she
That's gotta be
and
rough.
Krasinski's like rockets. The beginning when the kid
Rockets.
when the kid steals the rocket, and then what happens. I was like, what? Oh my-
It's a great
That's not supposed to
it's a great idea. Like if you're
Mhm.
in a situation where you have no other option but to make a lot of noise, having this massive distraction going on is a fantastic idea. It was great
Absolutely.
thinking. It was amazing thinking. There was one part of that movie that stuck in my mind only because I really didn't like it. And it was when the little boy falls into the silo of grain, he's like sinking, like drowning in grain. I'm like, that's not I don't know about that one. That seemed a little far-fetched to me. That was the only part of that movie where I was like, this seems a little forced. But other than that, I thought the movie was fantastic.
Well, the one part I was like, is because when her hearing aid goes off when they're inside the silo,
Mm-hmm.
and it forces the creature to like
Yeah.
he claws through the wall of the silo,
Mm-hmm.
but he can't claw through the roof of a truck.
Yeah.
I
There
was
was-
like, wait a
there
minute.
was- there was-
wait. So there was some inconsistencies but overall though, if you're not someone who's like us who like pays attention to that stuff, it's not gonna make a difference because you're not focused on it.
No.
I wish I had watched this in the theater with the entire theater just. I've heard
Silent.
friends of mine say that nobody talks, and like if I went to the theater and someone talked, I would hit them in the middle of this movie.
I saw the only experience I had that would be close to that. I saw Gravity in IMAX.
Oh, dude.
No one said a word.
IMAX 3D.
Yeah.
We were all just like everybody's
No,
holding their
it
breath at
was-
the same
it was
time, and
tense.
that was
It
nuts.
was
I
tense.
I tried watching that again when it was released on TV, and I'm like, yeah,
It doesn't do the same thing.
not at all. When you're
Not at all.
surrounded, like totally like surrounded by everything that was going on there, it was a whole different movie. That movie
And-
was meant to only be in the theater like that.
And the thing about that movie is it had like one of the weirdest it wasn't even a jump scare, but it was a jump scare when she's in the cockpit and she's like suffocating. Well, not suffocating,
Yeah.
but like running out of oxygen, and Clooney comes out of nowhere and opens the door.
Yeah.
It was like,
Yeah.
oh my god, it was wild in the theater to actually like, because it's silent, it's dead silent, and all of a sudden like a hatch opens and here comes Clooney, and it's like, what is happening?
Here
it was
comes Clooney.
that was a weird.
There was
one.
there were some of those scenes in Quiet Place
Yeah.
where it was dead silent, no music, and then like a noise happens, and you're like, whoa.
Mm.
Yeah.
I will say it was on Amazon. It was like rent for X amount, and then not much more you could buy it, so I just bought it.
Okay.
But I'm like, I'm debating on if this is one of those movies that you can watch a second time.
Yeah, I think it is. I want to watch it now. I've only watched it once. I really
Yeah.
want to watch it again.
You can. I would agree with
I
that.
think
It's
couple years in between, maybe.
Yeah.
You know. Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
because it's not like there's a twist that gives it away.
Yeah, I mean, but once the ending is already like done, you're like, oh, we know he dies, blah blah blah, whatever. You know, you can watch it again just to pick up little details, you know, and see if
Right.
there's any like
Well, the biggest
foreshadowing
detail
or-
was there was the what's their weakness you
Mhm.
see, and then when he gives her the hearing aid, you know, I figured it out before she figured it out.
Yeah. Well, I think most of us did.
Well, she figured out because that was her first time down there.
Mm.
I will say the creature design was
They did a
fantastic.
great job.
It
When their
looks
ears
really
open
cool.
up and you see their eardrum like
Yeah.
like vibrating,
So cool.
such a good. And I have to say, for a movie with not a lot of special effects, aside from the creatures themselves,
Yeah.
what would I wonder what
Yeah.
the budget must not have been massive for that film.
So I've gone to a few, they call them killer film fests, and you see like these low budget, independent
Budget.
horror
The
films
budget,
and stuff
just
like
just just for reference, the budget of the movie was 17 million.
that is amazing.
It took in
Amazing.
351.
Yeah,
Wha
absolutely amazing.
Why can't we go back to your point from last conversation we talked about when you saw
The
Creator?
Creator. I know.
17 million.
I
I'm willing
know.
to bet that the majority of that went to creating the creatures in this.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, that's what I was
Probably.
gonna get at too, but I was a few things. I realized what I was gonna talk about earlier, not that totally killer thing. But I think that's the point I was getting at is I watch so many things where, and it's always been inspiring to me as somebody who's done things where it's like, okay, how can we do this in a way we don't need any computer generation or special effects in the Hollywood sense? How can you tell a story without having to show something, but it's like because you led up to it, the audience can just pick up what must have happened, in the dark or,
Like
after
Signs.
something cut out. Yeah, like you can kind of guess things like that. And that's how you should make a movie. Telling a story by like not having to show it, but allowing the audience to fill in the blanks because you led them so well. And this movie does that. And that's what makes it so good. Now,
I like
what I
I
was gonna
like
get
that
at,
I like that thing with Signs that he just brought up. Because
yeah.
everything that happens, like the monster is very much like in the background. Like you have to like imagine what must be going on. I like that.
Right. And in the entire film, except for a few shots, takes place in their house. Like, and you're
Yeah.
sitting on the edge of your seat through 9 out of 10, like through 90% of that movie. You're like, what's going to happen? What's going to happen? And, someone actually said to me, the signs, it's the crop circles. Well, no, it wasn't. The signs in that film were actually the fact that there was cups of water all over the place. The signs were, he was a strikeout king. Those were the signs. And they were putting all these things together that
And the
actually,
kid was asthmatic and all that stuff.
right.
Yeah.
So it's what made their victory possible. But if you just look at it for face value, the signs were the crop circles, but it really wasn't. But this film was fantastic.
Yeah.
It was. I was beside myself. I was like, wow, for a film that had no dialogue,
Mm.
it was. I mean, I Am Legend with Will Smith had more dialogue.
Oh, absolutely. And he was totally alone.
He was totally alone.
No, but there was a dog. Sorry, there was a dog, and
There
then
was a
there
dog.
was Chet
Frank.
or whatever the
Frank.
the
Frank.
Frank.
The mannequin.
Frank, what are you doing?
Frank.
Frank.
Why are you out here?
What are you doing, Frank? No, so that was the other thing I was going to touch upon. Is the other thing I wanted to do on Friday was go see The Creator, and for some reason there was no theater nearby that was showing it.
Wow.
I was so annoyed.
Wow,
It's like, oh, sorry, there's no
really?
showings, and I'm like, are you kidding me? On a Friday
a-
night, there's no showings to see The Creator. I mean, maybe now in different areas, but not up here. There was nothing
I'm-
up here that had it.
Wow.
At least not AMC.
Yeah.
I looked on Saturday. It was there on Saturday.
Yeah, well, it wasn't there on Friday,
No.
so I didn't get to see The Creator
No.
because I was gonna figure that out. But anyway,
I want to see The Creator.
I do too. But we're not here to talk about The Creator
Nope.
or really anything else but this wonderful Marvel called Loki, season 2,
Sure.
episode 2. This is called Breaking Brad.
Breaking Bad.
Breaking Brad.
Breaking Bad. You know what? I'm gonna let you guys go first. I want to go last.
Oh, I thought you were gonna go first.
I thought that, but your reactions, I kind of want you guys to go first.
Okay. Did I miss something in between last episode and this episode? Because it feels like there was this plot where they have to go get a guy, but I don't ever remember them talking about the guy, and they just kind of like plop you into the middle of this thing that's going on.
No,
It's the only
you
thing
missed
like you start watching the episode and it's like, wait a minute. And then I went back and I'm watching and I'm like, no, I missed nothing. They're just gonna carry on, not asking any questions, not asking who pruned him, not asking what was up with the phone. None of that. None of that was brought up at all. It's just we're here now and we're on this timeline and we have to get this really arrogant actor, and I really didn't know why. But
Well, he's X5. He's the guy from the first episode.
the premiere like last year,
Yeah.
first episode.
No.
No.
The dude we saw in the last episode, we're like, who is this dude and why is he getting so
He's-
much screen time?
He's the bad guy. I was like, he's the bad guy.
Him?
He's the
that
one
was the
who-
same guy.
Yeah. X5, yeah.
He was
Really?
the guy who was
If you
like,
watch the recap, he's right there saying,
He's-
this changes everything.
he's like,
Okay.
hey, he was the guy who was like, Morbius.
Ah,
Morbius.
yeah.
Morbius. You like jet skis? You know, jet skis really. He was the guy who was
Oh,
standing.
Yeah.
That's
The one
Okay,
who
him.
was really
so
hard to read. Yeah.
okay,
That's
yeah.
him.
Now I know, but still, I don't know why he was all of a sudden on assignment undercover.
Yeah, but he wasn't.
He
But he
wasn't. He
was.
was. He was originally, but then he wasn't.
Yeah.
You have to realize too is on those timelines. Those timelines, when they go back, they're not running linear. So a day goes by here doesn't mean a day goes. It's a year could have gone by then.
Yeah. So that was my biggest question: is how long was he there living as Brad Wolf?
I don't know.
That's like my biggest question. Is like, was it a couple years? Was it a few months? I mean, obviously, he shot a movie back in 1977. I think it was same year
Yeah.
as Star Wars Episode
Yeah,
4.
they were. Yeah, they were. You know the style. But anyways, regardless, I'm ambivalent to this episode. Whatever. It doesn't affect
Yeah,
me one way or another. I didn't love it. I didn't hate it. It is
I
what it.
said 50-50. Yes.
Okay, very good. Yeah, 50-50, fine. I'm 50-50 on this one. I didn't love it. I didn't hate it. There were things that the biggest thing that bothered me is just the whole the timeline thing and the confusion surrounding it. And I did say that they're gonna, get muddled down in these waters, and it's second episode in, and we're already asking questions. Lee just asked a question like, when are we? How long has he been there? And you really don't know. And I kind of feel like in a show that has this much time travel in it, you should know. Like, you should be able to, like, fix on a point of, like, this is how much time has gone by. This is how much time this person has been here. This is how long they've been looking for this person. Like, it should have been, like, a thing that kind of wasn't. They just moved on. Like, if it doesn't feel like the one episode, it doesn't feel like the first episode ran into this one at all. Like, there's almost little to no continuity. And it's just, here you go. And I could have dealt without that. The final moments where he was torturing the guy in the box and it just kept getting shorter and shorter, I thought that was awesome. I thought that was
brilliant.
fantastic.
Brilliant.
So it was really well done, and just the way that Tom Hiddleston and Luke Owen were going back and forth and they were playing this guy. Luke Owen, what's his name?
Owen Wilson.
Owen Wilson.
Just name all the brothers with no last name.
Yeah, sure. Owen Wilson. I mean, the way that the two of them were playing that guy, I thought it at the end was
brilliant.
great. I saw it coming. Like, I knew, you knew what was going on when he's beating on the door, and I'm like, yeah, this is a setup. Come on.
Oh yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
So, but aside from that,
Still,
I thought it was
well
cool.
played.
Aside from that, I thought it was cool. The whole Miss Minutes thing. Okay, she's okay. She's just doing her own thing, and okay. But that's it. Those are my thoughts. I'm 50-50. I don't care.
Yeah. I will say this.
Say it.
It.
No,
Yay.
you said you're gonna say this. Sorry, say this.
Oh, it's this.
Okay, there you go.
This.
My turn now.
That's my turn. I'm gonna say it.
You-
I thought you said you wanted us to go first.
Yeah, but you just said I
Now
was
we
gonna
changed
say
his
this.
mind.
So you
Oh,
said
okay,
this, and now
okay.
it's my turn.
So, my thoughts on this. Basically, I watched the first time and I liked what I liked while I was watching it, and then by the end, I'm kind of like, meh. Rewatching it, I really liked what I liked the first time because it reminded me. I got the taste out of my mouth and I was focusing on the things I liked. Honestly, Loki being Loki, I loved. Loki being like, "Hey, you seem a little tense. Are you sure you're all right?" Was like, huh. But when he was like chasing the dude down and like full power Loki, and then he had like all the fake British dudes like, "Hey, where you going?" And then like messing with him with all the holograms and then the shadows.
That was a really
Yeah.
I
good
was
thing.
like, this is amazing. Like,
Yeah.
I was just so happy to see Loki being Loki.
I thought it was funny when he was like, "Remember that time when I tried taking over New York and I was fighting against my father and my brother?"
Yeah,
I'm like,
when I was
"What?"
trying to get back at my dad and my brother, and I just
That
like
wasn't
took
tactical at all.
took all of New York hostage, and then I tried to use the Mind Stone on Tony Stark, and it didn't work, so I threw him off a building. Yeah, that's when I lost it. Like
It wasn't tactical at all. I had a moment.
Yeah.
Yeah, you did.
that was good. I liked that it brought back it took something and it minimized an entire movie. And just like, remember
Totally.
that time I did something dumb? Moving on. I thought that was great. But yeah, honestly, the episode itself, I feel like I wanted some more meat to it. but I really enjoyed. I enjoyed seeing Loki be Loki when he was doing the whole interrogation thing with him. Fantastic,
Yeah.
everything he did with him and he and Brad or X5, whatever you want to call it, fantastic. But the rest of it, I'm just like, give me a little more. Just give me something else to grasp on. I wanted more Obi. I wanted more of like what's going on. What's the big deal right now? It seems like Obi's got a plan. He's gonna make it work, but his temporal aura is not gonna work because he's not he who remains. Okay, it doesn't seem like it's
Do they
What are
even
your
need to
thoughts
do
on
that
ripping it
anymore?
up?
Do they even need to do
huh
that anymore? Because
because they pruned all the
they
branches.
pruned all the
Exactly.
branches. Do they even need
So
to
what's the
like?
problem?
I don't know.
I mean, they don't want to prune the branches anymore
I
because
do love. I
suddenly they're people. They weren't before, but
There are
suddenly
people now.
those are people.
Deal with it.
Those are all lives. Yeah,
I do
they've been
love the
lives. You didn't care before.
I do love the bromance that Obi got going on with the guy over the book that he wrote. Like, can you
Oh,
sign it
dude,
for me?
Casey.
That was like,
I was, gonna,
okay, this
I was just gonna
is
ask, what are your thoughts on Obi 2.0?
yeah,
Because he is.
yeah.
That's not gonna stop the tracking. Give me a little bit of time. I'll figure it out for you.
Sure.
He's the guy in a chair for Spider-Man.
I
That's who
guess
he
so.
reminded me of
I guess so.
in the Tom
A little
Holland
bit.
Spider-Man
A little
trilogy.
bit. Yeah. Yeah.
Are you done? So I'm like 70-30 on this episode. So I liked it. I enjoyed it. I like this a lot better than what we've been seeing for Marvel stuff.
Oh, absolutely.
Um,
Except for Guardians 3, that was actually not bad.
right. Overall, I thought it was decent. I liked the back and forth with Luke Owen, with Owen Wilson and Tom Hiddleston. I thought they did a fantastic job with that. Even like you were saying, Will, the back and forth. I will say the one thing that really threw me off is what I said last week about the main plot of this episode is they're going to try to prune the branches and then they're going to try to their goal is to stop it. I was not expecting it to happen this episode.
No.
I was thinking that's the main plot. I said that last week. That's going to be the main plot. It ended up happening, which I'm glad I saw that, but I missed out on that happened really fast.
I'm not surprised. And that's what I was saying. Like, I have no idea what the plot of this season's going to be because the way that they had him time slipping, and it's like, okay, now that's done. Now we have this whole issue about the timeline. Now that's done. So again, I'm not surprised because I still have no idea where they're going, and I'm just like,
But here's
we'll
the
see.
thing, though, is what I said last week is if they do that, Kane the Conqueror is no more.
Right.
He is technically gone.
They're trying to write out Jonathan Majors,
Absolutely.
which is so ridiculous because they played him up for like so much in the first season of Loki and then making him a big deal with Quantumania. And honestly, if they just didn't show that final scene at the end of Quantumania where there's like 5 billion of him,
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
But he wasn't really
Yeah.
a big deal in Quantumania.
But they were trying to like build him up as the next big bad for the MCU to like take down.
you remember the end credits? The after
Yeah.
credit? Or like that was a big deal. A whole bunch of Kangs in a stadium. Like that was huge. And it's
Oh,
like,
that's
what's
right.
gonna happen now? Like it's all about the Kang dynasty, and now they're like, let's just pretend that we didn't do that. And then they're gonna introduce this Victor Timely character. I don't know.
Yeah, but now he's official because they killed him at the end of time. He's now officially dead. Sylvie killed him.
Yeah, but he did say, "I'll see you soon," and there's no way they can walk out of that.
He said, "I'll see you soon," and that
Uh-huh.
was when there was multiple timelines. The other versions of him would come and see them. Now, there's no more of them because they pruned all those timelines. They don't exist anymore. So all his variants are no longer around. They don't exist. They can't.
They
pruned all those.
can.
How they pruned
can
all the
exist.
timelines.
Yeah, but there was a ton of him before there was like multiple timelines. There was still like a ton of him just like out there in the universe. Like that was the
No.
point behind. Yeah, that was the whole point behind that end credit scene that you were just talking about. That was the whole point behind last season was there's going to be a lot of him, regardless.
Right. There was a lot of him because he was trying to protect he wanted the branches to happen because that's what made more of him.
No, He did not want the branches to happen at
Don't
the end of the first
confuse
season.
timelines with multiverse.
It doesn't matter. I don't care.
They're two different
Why
things.
not?
Timeline, multi. Okay, no, you can't.
MCU's branches
You
is the
ab-
multiverse.
you absolutely can confuse a timeline with multiverse because the MCU is confusing timeline with multiverse.
Right.
So I'm gonna
Right,
do it
but that-
too. I'm gonna
that-
merge them together like the MCU is. I don't no.
The
I'm
MCU's
not gonna try to make
version
logic
of
out of this.
no, but the MCU's version of multiverse is this branch effect, the splitting of branches. They touched on it in Endgame,
Meh.
and they fixed it in Endgame. And then when Loki went back to original Avengers, and that's when the split happened. Now all these splits happen, and that's where the variants of everyone came from, including Kang. There were no variants of Kane before the splits happened. There's no. That is the multiverse in MCU. Is the timelines.
Mm,
Meh,
I don't know.
meh.
They're going somewhere else with it. The thing is
Yeah.
that they've written themselves into a corner, and it's hard to get out of it when they start changing out actors. Like now, this whole cancel culture thing, where it's like somebody did something and then they're gone. I'm not justifying anything that this guy did. I'm just saying like they write themselves in these corners now, and it's like, well, now what do we do? Okay, let's make a Flash movie and then never show him again, and move on to a whole different version of Flash because we don't want to deal with him.
If they did that in the beginning, Robert Downey Jr. would never had a job.
Right. But here's what they're gonna do. They're gonna pull a Doctor Who, and they're gonna replace the reactor. They're gonna place the actor with somebody else every single time you see a variant of Kang. He's gonna be somebody else. That's what they're gonna do. There's no other way to do it.
Well, they did that with Loki. And speaking of that, Sylvie in this, when she's in her McDonald's uniform with her coat on, looks just like one of the girl doctor dressed up. She looks like Doctor Who.
Oh, okay.
Did you see the girl doctor?
Yeah, actually, I was watching a few episodes. This
She's
past week.
dressed just like her. It's
Okay.
hilarious.
Jodie Whittaker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like, could you be any more obvious about this?
I'm so happy that I'm only a few seasons behind in Doctor Who. I thought I was like 5-6 years behind, but no, I just want to hurry up and get to David Tennant coming back. That's all I want to watch at this point.
Well, he's only back for like 3 or 4 episodes.
I don't care. I just want those 3 or 4 episodes because
go-
everything's been garbage otherwise.
But here's the thing, even
Just go
Doctor
watch
Who.
those episodes.
No,
Yeah.
I need to know why. I need to know why.
No, you don't.
Yes, you don't know. Okay,
Yes,
you
I
don't
do
watch
know.
Doctor
You made
Who.
me watch like the first 3 seasons of that show, and I did, and there was no continuity whatsoever. It was just one thing
Well, that's
after
be-
another. Here we go. Here's one episode, and they're in this situation, and then we're gonna forget
No.
all about all that nonsense, and here we go. We're moving on again.
Episode. Oh, there's the continuity in Doctor Who is so solid. You can go 5 years back and it still ties.
You can go
They
30 years back.
They go back 30 years.
You can
and
go
it still-
60 years
I
back.
don't believe you. I do not believe
Is
you. I
the
don't
way
care.
they do this show, the way they fixed their issue with time travel by saying it's just timey-wimey, wibbly-wobbly stuff. And that's their write-off on how they doesn't make sense. It's because it's timey-wimey, wibbly-wobbly.
The
stuff.
whole show.
I'm gonna be
wrote
honest. I
off.
hate that show. I hate Doctor. I hate that show. I hate
that whole
everything that I
whole
saw.
franchise said basically none of this makes sense. Get over it. And then we all were like, yeah, valid. All right, let's move on.
I love it.
It's absolutely perfect.
I'm happy that the two of you love it.
I'm surprised. You're like the first sci-fi guy I know next to my dad who's like, I don't like Doctor Who.
I do not like that show at all. I don't like it.
When
I don't
Matt
like.
Smith-
You know why I don't like it? I don't like dry British humor. It's boring. It's so boring. It's so stupid.
When
It's
Matt
like
Smith
it has
became
like
the
a little
Doctor-
bit. It has a little bit more pulse than like Mr. Bean. Like Doctor Who has a little bit more going for it, but other than that, it is dry British humor nonsense, and I hate it. There's
Will would
nothing
like
funny about
Capaldi.
any of it. I would like what?
He would like Capaldi. So one of the last Doctors, he was an older guy. You would actually appreciate Capaldi's Doctor. The other stuff, it's a little over the top. Capaldi's a lot more grounded in a sense. He's
Good for him.
older.
Good for him.
You would actually appreciate his Doctor. I think he's he's probably my favorite. I
Matt
know
Smith is mine.
I know everybody loves Tennant and
Tenet, yeah.
Smith. I mean, Smith had some of the greatest stories, but I still can't get over him spending 5,000 years trying to punch through that wall. And I'm like, that's amazing. Such a cool story. Anyway,
Well, it's funny when Matt Smith became the Doctor, it was the number watched TV show in the world.
the number watched.
Number one watched TV show in the world.
Okay.
It was a big deal.
That's a big deal. Like to be claimed the number one watched TV show in the world. That's big.
When was this?
Oh, 2010.
10?
Really? In 2010, Doctor Who was the number one watched television show in the world.
When Matt Smith came out. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's like when you say in America that soccer is the most popular sport in the world, your average American's gonna go, not a chance. Until you leave America and you realize that everybody plays soccer.
Everybody, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So, I mean, basically, the story we get in this episode, I mean, just to kind of get through what happened here is they find, they find this dude, Brad, or this X5, who's living as Brad Wolf, back in the 70s as this, like, up-and-coming rising star actor, right? And they know that he knows how to find Sylvie. He's doing everything that he can to divert them to think that he doesn't know, but he does. And Loki and Mobius torture him, basically interrogate him. They play good cop, bad cop, this cop, that cop, whatever. And they get the information. They go to find her. She's working at a McDonald's, living her quote unquote best life. Back in 1982.
Mm-hmm.
At a McDonald's.
Back in 1982, working at a McDonald's.
In Oklahoma.
Sure.
She's not happy to see Loki.
No.
Why?
I don't know.
Why is she so mad at him? If anything, he should be mad at her.
I don't know why. I don't know. It's a good question.
She kicked him through a door, and then she killed He Who Remains, and then he went through all the stuff that he went through to get him back to where he is. Wouldn't he be the one mad?
Kind of sounds like somebody should answer that.
Yeah.
I'm guessing that someone is the MCU, which they don't answer questions.
Oh,
like
Kevin.
Not really.
Yeah.
They're not. No, they're not going to answer this at all.
Yeah, Kevin. Anyway, he explains all the stuff to her, the time slipping, how he saw her, and that the TVA is in danger. She wants nothing to do with TVA, hates the TVA, rightfully so, because of her whole life being chased by the TVA. Got it. But he explains
she's technically not a real person.
Yeah, well, according to B-15, suddenly she is, because those are all people.
Right. I love their conversation at McDonald's though, when
Mobius and Brad are sitting down
and they're talking, and he's like, you would think like opposites attract, but these guys, they're just what are they talking about?
Well, he's like, oh, come on, tell me about Zaniac. And it's like, it seems like a horror movie. No, it's an elevated thriller. And you have to get your own tickets. I'm not getting you in for nothing. He's like, and you slap me. Don't think I'll ever forget that.
Wow.
But Brad wants to get out of there ASAP because he knows what's going on. Brad knows like the entire plan, but he's like not telling them, which is strange because at this point he's with them. He's part of it. So why is he not just telling them we're going to die if we stay here? I'm not sure what the deal is. Anyway, Renslayer and Miss Minutes are working together. What we know from the last episode is Renslayer is like in cahoots or was in cahoots with He Who Remains. Very interesting thing, I think I brought up last week too, is in the comics, Ravonna Wayne's Renslayer and Kang are like together, like that. They're like a couple.
They're a couple.
It's a big deal.
Okay.
So I guess we'll see what that ends up doing. Sylvie hangs on the roof of on the hood of the truck, and
Hold
so
on.
and so forth.
You're like into this tonight, aren't you?
Mm-hmm. I'm not gonna lie. I don't care about this episode. I couldn't get into it, and I watched it twice. First, second time, I was just like, this wasn't great. This wasn't.
I watched it 4 times today.
Wow.
Like it took you 4 times to watch it, you mean?
No. So the first 3 times, yes. So I watched it, fell asleep, because I was so tired.
Of course.
I rewound it, watched a little bit.
You rewound it? Were you watching it on VHS?
Well, you can hit rewind, the rewind
Listen,
button.
yeah.
It's called a
Rewind is still
replay.
a thing.
It's not.
It
Nothing
is.
is being wound.
Rewind is still a play. It's still a thing.
Captain Literal again has shown up.
He's
Wow.
yeah.
So
That's your service.
I went back a few chapters in the few scenes. I started watching it again, and I fell asleep again. So then I did it again, and then I finally made it through. And I watched it, and then I went up. And a few hours later, I went upstairs and watched it again. And I was like, oh, there were a few things I missed because I thought I went back to the right spot. But it took me I technically watched the whole way through twice. The first time just took me 3 or 4 times to do it. It was pretty intense afternoon.
Hmm.
But I was like, I'm gonna watch this one twice because I have never done that before. I usually watch them once. But
So what I really did, I mean, aside from just like I mentioned the Loki stuff earlier, like his interrogation and him showing his powers off, when he and Brad are the first time they meet in the room, and Brad is just going off on him, like you're a villain, and you're good at it. Just go do that because it's like everything you ever do makes everything worse for everybody. You are a loser because you lose. That's just who you are. Get over it. Like he was laying into him, and I was really like I was impressed with Loki's like his ability to hold back, and then Mobius just like couldn't take it and slaps him, and I'm like,
Mm.
whoa, that's nothing like what he said to Loki, and he just lost it. So I think at that point we're getting a little bit more into Mobius, where he's like, it's hitting him. But then later on, they have that conversation where he's like, no, like I want nothing to do with whatever my other life could have been. And he's like, yeah, what if it's like really bad? He goes, no, I'm more worried about if it's good. What if it's a really good life and I have to have that stuck in my head and deal with that? Because I'm happy where I'm at. I don't want to know what could have been because it's just going to make me disappointed with where I'm at.
yeah, but if he went back to his regular life, and he's been at the TVA for 300-400 years, what century was he born in?
Well,
I don't think any of you.
time works differently in the
Yeah,
TVA.
I don't think that matters at all.
It would.
You got
Be,
Sylvie, who's living back
yeah.
in 1982. So I'm pretty sure, like, if he was alive, like in the 1400s, he would be able to like go back to like.
But there's
his
no jet skis
timeline.
in the 1400s. That's not the point.
Fine.
This
but
is
he
in the
could-
future and in
yeah,
the
but
past.
he
The
could love-
TVA is not lined up with where we are right now.
Yeah,
It's
but
in the
he could love.
future.
He could hit this
Ah, it's
version
the
of
world between
Mobius could
worlds.
just love jet skis. Like
It's not what they're going for. This dude.
he doesn't remember
invented the jet
anything.
ski.
He doesn't
He
remember
invented the jet
anything.
ski. I'm just saying.
He doesn't remember anything.
But my point is, his character was probably like taken out of the timeline in the 90s.
How do you know?
But for him, it was jet skis.
He loved.
telling
He
you.
doesn't remember anything. He remembers
I know
nothing of
that.
his previous life.
I
He's
know
been there
that,
for
but
300-400
he has
years.
a desire for jet skis, which they bring up again in this season.
That could
It's
just
clearly
be him
going
reading
somewhere.
a magazine at the TVA, loving jet ski. I'm no longer looking deep into any of this. I'm taking everything at face value from now on. There's a magazine with jet skis on it, and he goes, "Oh my god, that looks cool," and that could be it. Nothing else
And then he
could be
starts
read
going
into
off
that.
in detail in the last episode.
About what?
He starts going off in detail about Sea-Doos and this, that, and onboard motors or whatever. He starts getting into detail about what jet skis are.
That's like
Yeah, but
every
he
magazine.
used
That's
to
like every novelty magazine in the world. You pick up a
I'm just-
guitar magazine, and you're gonna start talking about Gibsons. Like it's the same concept.
I get it, but he's like obsessed, and
Okay.
it's
So
it-
he was
it
a jet
seems
ski
like it's-
salesman.
that's what I first thought. Now I'm wondering like it might be deeper than that because this is very deep. But hey, whatever. I assumed jet ski salesman at one point. Now I'm thinking maybe he was like the evil Knievel of jet skis. I don't know. But
The evil
I think you just
Knievel
think
of
about
jet
it.
skis.
but it's got to go it's got to go somewhere.
Well, it's
They're
gonna go
clearly
somewhere.
leading it up to something. But I
We
honestly,
have been saying these things need to go somewhere for years at this point, and they don't. I'm done.
I know, but
You can
this is not a-
you
this
can
is not
say
a-
you can hang out on there on that branch all you want to. I'm done. I'm climbing down
This
off
is
the tree.
This is a dumb enough storyline where I'm not putting it past Kevin. Like Kevin will totally use this dumb storyline to go with it. So, can somebody tell
I
me?
like how you're using his like just his first name, like you know him.
I know,
Kevin
right?
will do this.
Listen.
Kevin will do it because
If you two watch She-Hulk, you'll understand. All right? That's all I'm saying.
Why you call him Kevin?
Yes. Absolutely.
The fact
Yep.
that the fact that the only thing about She-Hulk that you want to bring up constantly is this inside joke about Kevin says the worst things about the MCU right now.
Absolutely. It was a major fourth wall break about Kevin.
That's even worse.
So,
Kevin,
can somebody explain Mobius's knock knock joke? Was it just Owen Wilson being Owen Wilson and it's like, oh,
did you not get it?
Knock knock, who's there? Brad. Brad who?
Exactly.
That's showbiz.
Right. And then he
Brad
answered
who?
the question.
That's showbiz.
Then he answered the question afterwards. You don't want them to forget you, so can we get you back to where you were so you're not forgotten?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Oh,
He
okay.
answered the question.
Okay. All right, I get it.
It wasn't funny. It was just a setup for hey. And that's why X5 was like, oh, did you see what he just did there? Got it.
Yeah.
Because he was trying to play smart with them. So yeah.
So
Yep.
yeah, I'm
Exciting.
exciting.
Riveting
This
TV.
conversation is
Riveting.
Exciting. I can't wait for our next conversation.
You sure?
I got some news for you.
Okay. Well,
my life has been ruined.
Oh.
You will.
Oh.
Next conversation, you'll find out why.
Oh
right.
no.
Oh no.
oh no. Anyway, I guess that's it for this episode. Well,
25 minutes later.
all right. Well, thank you guys so much for sticking around. We will
Wow.
catch you guys next week.
Have a great one, everyone.
Bye-bye, people.
Hey everybody, Lee from Black and White Reviews here. Just wanted to take a moment to thank you for tuning in, checking out our conversation. If you like this discussion and you want to hear more about this specific subject or other things, check us out on our podcasting sites, whether it's Spotify, Apple Music, or Google Podcasts. We're up on pretty much all of them. So yeah, thanks again for popping by, and be sure to like and subscribe. Thanks.